welcome back to mymusiccollege.com. Once again, I'm Jeff, and as a reminder, I'm just going to go straight through this lesson because you've got rewind and fast forward and pause and those kind of things. So with the wonders of modern technology, I don't need to rehash things or go slower. So I'm going to let you use your technology to go through this lesson and back and review things as you see fit. So what we'll take a look at is how humans decided to try to represent sound on paper. It's real easy for a painter. They can take their brushes and their knives and different things, and they can mix colors, and they can get colors and textures onto a canvas to represent something you might see. But how do you put a sound on a piece of paper? Well, you can't. So humans had to come up with a way to represent a pitch for you on your instrument so that you could replicate it. So what humans came up with was to take a blank sheet of paper like this. We'll call this our paper. You're going to put 5 lines on it. Oop. Try to make these fairly straight for you. When I was a youngster in music class, my teacher had this big wooden device with 5 metal wire clamps that they put 5 pieces of chalk in, and they could just draw staff on the old chalkboard that way, but we'll have to suffice with this. Okay, so we have a blank piece of paper. We'll put 5 lines on here. These 5 lines are called the staff. Old English and Middle English, long straight things, a lot of things were called a stave or a staff, and that's sort of how that word got assigned to the lines on the paper. Then we needed to put the note on there to represent the pitch, and we're going to use some ovals and some dots. Okay. And we'll put a note on that staff. But this note at this time has no meaning because we don't have anything on the staff to tell us which note it is. It's just a note on the staff. So just like we have a map where you have a legend on a map where it tells you, 1 inch equals a mile. This is an intersection. Bathrooms are 6 miles ahead, that kind of thing. We need something to tell us what this note is. So what the humans came up with was this symbol. There's more of these. Guitar uses this symbol. This is called a treble clef. The reason it's called a treble clef is hundreds of years ago when they wrote music, they wrote for voice, they wrote 3 parts. They wrote a bass part, an alto or tenor part, and then a soprano part, and the soprano was the treble part, or the 3rd part from the bottom, so they called it the treble clef. You'll hear that 99.9% of the time. But in fact, it's the G clef. It's the letter G. Humans have just made it more ornate over time so that it looked better. And the clef, okay, clef is in fact Latin for key. And so this is the key to knowing where all the notes are. And how this works with the G clef is that the big loop on the bottom circles this second line right here, and that note is in fact the note G when you have the treble clef on the staff. Now that we know that's the note G, 1 note per line in space, we know where all the other notes go now. We'll go backwards to begin with. This is a note G. If we come back to this space, this would be an F. If we come back again to this line, that would be an E. We go to the space below the staff, that's a D. And in music, we only use the notes A through G. So since this note's a G, we're going to start over on A here. So we have an A in this space, a B on this line, a C in the space, a D on the line, an E in this space, an F on the line, and a G in the space above the staff. So we've talked about starting off with a blank piece of paper, adding the 5 lines, which is the staff, adding the treble clef or the G clef to that, which tells us that This is a G on the second line from the bottom, and that gives us D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And we'll talk more about these notes and notes that reside below the staff and notes that reside above the staff in some future lessons. Thanks a lot. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Hey, so Jeff, welcome back to mymusiccollege.com. Once again, as a reminder, I'm going to go straight through the lesson, let you use your technology to fast forward, pause, rewind, review the elements of this lesson that you might need to in the future. So let's just get started. Last time we looked at the staff and the treble clef or the G clef, and we found out that that told us that this note was a G, and by knowing that, we know where all the rest of the notes are. So all we're adding on here is we're adding these notes below the staff and those notes over there above the staff. And we have to put extra lines down here and above the staff, and those lines are called ledger lines. Okay, so we'll just start on this end. This note is an E. This is a low E, so this will be the lowest note you play on the guitar on your low E string. Okay, so that's the lowest note we'd need to read on paper because you can't play a note lower than that on guitar. All right, so if we go on up, we know that's a F, G, A, B, C, D on up until we get to the G we learned in a previous lesson. One note up from that is A. We'll start over. B. Let's fix this. About deprived you of a note there. That's a C on the line. And this will be a D above the line. And then an E on the third line up. So all we really need to know is, well, how to remember these things, okay? Well, let's look at the three faces of music. First of all, one of the memory aids that you can use to remember what notes are is the spaces in the staff. There's 4 spaces, and this note is an F. The next space is an A. The next one's a C. And this 4th space up here is an E. So that spells face. F-A-C-E, space, 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 space. So the spaces on the staff spell face. The best thing, the easiest way to remember that, okay? For the lines on the staff, that gives you an E, F, G, a B, C, D, E, F. So you get E, G, B, D, and an F right there underneath this note, okay? Make up any mnemonic you want, any way to remember this. The one I like is every good burger deserves fries, okay? So there you go. Now the one thing about music is there's tons of patterns, and the sooner you start remembering the patterns and recognizing them, the easier it is to learn anything about how music works or how to read music. Okay, we know the letters A through G. That's all there is. So they have to repeat, as they go up, and in fact they do. We said this is the letter E, so this then is the letter F on a line. Okay. Well, if you go to the next line below the staff, it's an A, and then the next line below the staff is a C, and then we already know that the line on the bottom of the staff is an E, so there's another face right there. And of course, you've got E, G, B, and then D, and then here's your F again. So you've got this E, G, B, D, F pattern on the spaces below the staff, so you can use your every good burger deserves fries to get the spaces down here, and you can use face to get the lines down here. You flip that when you get to the staff, start on the bottom line, you use every good burger deserves fries, and in the spaces, face. And then once you get to the top of the staff, well, guess what? It flips again. This is a G. And, well, we'll start on the line here. Here's an F. And then this line is an A. This line is a C. And this line is an E. So there's a face again. Okay? So a face on the lines below the staff, a face on the spaces inside of the staff, and then a face on the lines above the staff. And then here's your every good burger, deserves, and if we put an F over here, fries, in the spaces above the staff. So it just flips each time. So just using these memory aids, start reading as much music as you can. Remember to use the 4 steps. If you haven't learned the 4 steps yet, step 1 is just to say the names of the notes. Set your piece of music in front of you, put your guitar down, and just go through and say the names of the notes. Step 2 would be to say the names of the notes with a metronome, so you're saying them in the correct time with the correct rhythm. Step 3 is going to be to play the notes, so you just play the notes, don't worry about the rhythm, just get them under your fingers. And then step 4, and actually say and play them at the same time is going to be better. And then step 4 is going to be to play the notes with the metronome. All right, I hope this helps, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next video here at mymusiccollege.com. You have a great day.